Austerity is quite out of the question with him, who is the personification of the time, spreads the principle of the destruction, a fire to consume the forest of the shape of the wig, a repository of virtues and the embodiment of the wisdom, and who is adored even by the Shiva and the Brahma. Giving up all quarrel with the Shriram, restored their daughter to him, and worshipped the all worship merciful, who has the most loving disposition. His words stung Ravana like shafts. Away, wretch, with your aqueous face. It is were not for your age. Yeah, I would have finished you. Now please do not appear before my eyes again. Marwan, however, thought within himself that the All Merciful has made up his mind to kill him. He therefore rose and departed, accusing Ravana, and he went. Meghnata thereupon exclaimed in fury, "See what works, wonders I have worked the very next morning. I am going to accomplish much. Why should I, therefore, belittle its words by speaking of it just now?" Confidence returns in the Ravana when he hears the son's words, and he found took him into his lap. The day broke even while they delivered, and the monkey again assails the four-gated. In their fury, they let siege the most powerful citadel. Citadel that this give rise to an uproarious alarms in the city. A demon darted forward with their weapons of every description and hurled down mountain peak from the rampart. The demon the Denmark mountain peak in marriage and fired bombshells of the every description, which may roaring like a crush of the thunder, while the concentrating warriors roared like a cloud on the days of the universe destruction. Fierce monkeys warriors combated with their adversaries and had the bodies severely wounded and badly. Warriors has roared like the road of university. Fierce warriors warrior combated with the adversaries and had their bodies severely wounded and badly buffeted. Yet they language not seize rock. They hurled them against the fort, and the demon fell to them wherever they stood. When Meghnata heard that the monkey had come and besieged the forts again, the hero tore down the forts and sailed forth with beat of the drum to meet the enemies face to face. Shri Rama, Rama, Shri Rama, Shri Rama, Rama, Shri Rama, Rama, Shri Rama, Shri meet the enemies face to face. Shri Rama, Rama, Shri where are the two brothers, princes of the prince? Where are the two brothers, prince of the Kaushla? Those who archers celebrated throughout the spheres. Where are Nala, Nila, Davida, and the Sugriva, as well as Angdas and Hanumana, the most powerful are there is a Vibhishna, the traitor of his own brother. I will kill them all today and him Vishnu too at all events. So saying he fitted sharp arrow to his arrow, bows and axes of furry to the string up of his ears. Presently he started discharging a volley of arrows that flew like so many winged serpents. Everywhere monkeys were seen falling to the ground. At the times there was none who would dare to face him. Bears and the monkey fled in every direction. None had any desires left to continue the fight. Not a single monkey or bear won't be seen on fleet whom he had left with anything but life. He struck his opponent with 10 arrows each, and the monkey warriors dropped to the ground. Meghnada, who was as powerful as he was staunch in fight, now roared like a lion. When the son of the wind god saw his army in distress, he flew into the lake and rushed forth as if he were death personified. He forthwith uproared up a huge rock and hurled it at Meghnada with great fury. When he saw the rock coming towards him, he mounted up into the air, leaving his cars, carrots, and the horses perish. Again and again did Hanumana challenge him to duel, but the demon dared not come nearer, for he knew the monkey's real strength. Meghnada now approached Shriram and hurled every kind of abuse at him. He raised weapons and missiles of every description against him, but the Lord, with the utmost ease, cut them asunder.
before they could reach them. This food was put out of countenance when he saw the Lord's might and began to practice all sort of elusive devices, as if catching hold of a poor little snackling one where to frighten Garuda and sports with him. The evil-minded demon displayed his demonic powers before him, whose powerful Maya deluding potency holds sway over all, both great and small. Shiva and Virechi, the creator, not expected. Mounting up into the air, he rained down a shower of the firebrands, and a spout of water issued forth from the earth. Friends and the fiends and the fiendness of the divers from dance with cries of the mime and kill. Uh, Now he would rain down showers of faces, pus, blood, hairs, and the bone, and now he would hurl a volley of the stones by discharging dust all round. He made it so dark that if you had out your own hand, you would not see it. The monkey lost their nerves when they saw these supernatural phenomena. At this rate, we are all doomed, they thought. Shirama smiled when he saw this once. At the same time, he understood that the monkey were all around. With a single arrow he broke the elusive wave. Even as the sun removed the thick veil of darkness, he cast a gracious look on the monkeys and bears, and lo, they grew into the strong to be resistant from fright. Resistant, they grew too strong to be resistant from fighting. Asking leave of Sri Rama and accompanied by Angadas and other monkey chief, Lakshmana marched forth in furry bow and arrow in hand. With bloodshot eye, a broad chest, and long arm, his white form shone like the snow-clad Himalayas with its slight admixtures of red. At the other end, the ten-headed monster sent out champions who rushed forth equipped with missiles and other weapons of every description, with mountain claws and the trees for weapons. The monkeys hastened to meet the demons, shouting victory to Rama. They all closed in the Ferry, match with match, both the sides equally agog to win. The monkey, who had now the upper hand, battered the demons with their fists and feet and bit them with their teeth. They struck them down and beat them, kill, seize, slay, break his head, seize his arms and tear it up. Such were the cries that filled the air through all the nine divisions of the globe. Headless bodies sprinted furiously hither and thither. Hosts of the Celestials witnessed the spectacle from heaven, now with joy and now in dismay. Blood had collected in the hollows of the earth and dried up there as a cloud of the dust hung over it like ashes over a leap of live coal. The wounded warriors shone like so many Kimsukha's trees and flowers. The two champions, Lakshmana and Meghnada, grappled with each other in mounting fury. Neither could get the better of the others. The demon, however, resorted to wily tricks and unfair means. Lakshmana, who was no other than the Ananta, the serpent god Shesha, whose wrath bring about the dissolution of the universe, when waxed furious and the thrice smashed the carrots and tore the drivers to pieces. Shesha Lakshmana smote him in so many ways that the demon Meghnata was at all dead. But the son of the Ravana threw within himself that he was in state and the enemy would surely take his life. He threw a javelin with the notorious of killing warriors and was all brilliance, and though it struck Lakshmana in the breast, the blow was so smart that the prince swooned, and the Meghnata now went near him, shedding all fear. A vast number of champions as powerful as Meghnata strove to lift him, but how could Sesha, the serpent of the entire globe, be thus lifted? Hence they returned smarting with Listen, Parvati continues the Lord Shankara. None has conquered him in a battle, the fire of whose wrath soon consumes all the 14 spheres at the time of the universal destruction. and whom gods and the human being they all animate and the inanimate bring being adore. He alone can understand this mystery on whose descent Sri Rama's grace. Now that it was evening, both the armies retired and the commanders of the different units, the all prevailing supreme spirits asked, "Where is Lakshmana?" Meanwhile, Hanumana brought him. Seeing his younger brother in swoon, the Lord felt much distress. Jaman said, "Susena, the physician, lives in the Lanka. Somewhere should be sent to fetch him here." Assuming a minute discretionable form, Hanumana went and immediately bought him houses and all. Susena came and bowed his head at Sri Rama's lotus feet. He mentioned his name of the herb as well as the mountain where it could be had, and said, "Proceed, O son of the wind god, bring it." And shining Sri Rama's lotus feet in his heart, and as assuring the Lord of his own might, the son of the wind god departed. At the other end, the spy disclosed the secret or two Ravanas who called at the house of Kalanemi, a demon ally of the Ravana. The ten-headed mouse told him all that he had to say, hearing which Kalanemi beat his head again and again. Nobody can obstruct him who burns your capital before your very eyes. Therefore, adore the Lord of Raghu in your own interest and desist, my lord, from all vain prattle. Hold into your heart and lovely form, swarthy as a blue lotus, the delight of all eyes. Dismiss the foolish idea of I and you, mine and thine, and awake from a slumber the night of the gross infatuation. Can anyone even dream of conquering human battle? Who devours even the serpent of time, which is in turns devours the entire creation? The ten-headed monster flew into the lake when he heard this. Thereupon Kalnemi reasons to himself, I should rather die at the hands of the Sri Rama servants, for this wretch revealed in his load of the sins. Saying himself, he departed and resorted to his black art. He produced by the path a lake, a temple, and the lovely garden. The son of the wind god saw the good hermitage and thought to himself, "Let me ask leave of the hermit over there and drink some water, so that I may be relieved of my fatigue." The demon Kalnevi had and concerned in there himself. There is a deceitful grab of the hermit and sought to delude the messenger, even the lord of the Maya. The son of the wind god went and bowed his head before him, and the demon in his turns began to recite Sri Rama's praises. A fierce war is raging between Sri Rama and Ravana, on which Rama will undoubtedly emerge victorious. I behold everything, my brothers, even from here, for my great strength lies in my intuitions. On his asking of for water, the demon gave Hanuman his own water pot, but the monkey chief said, "My thirst will not be quenched by the small quantities of water. Then take a plug in the lakes and speedily come back. And after I will initiate you, and you will spiritual insight." No sooner had Hanuman stopped into the lake than the she alligator seized him by the foot and great excitement. Having been slain by the Hanumana, she assumes the celestial forms and mounting on aerial car soars into the heaven. By your very sight, O dear monkeys, I have been absolved of all sins and curse of the great sakes, which accounted for my birth in the alligator's wombs, has come to an end. This follows, O monkey chief, is no hermit but a terrible demon, believed by words to be true. So saying, the celestial knife left for her abode in heavens, and Hanumana impediently returns to the demons. Said the monkey, "First receive, holy sirs, your fee as my spiritual preceptors, and after that imparted for me the second formula." Now Hanumana then twisted his tails round the hermit's heads and knocked him down, and he appears in his original demonic forms at the moment of the death and gave up the ghost while muttering Rama Rama. Hanuman was delighted at the heart to hear these names and proceeded on his way. He found the mountain but failed to single out the herb prescribed by the Sushena. He therefore lost no time in uprolling the mount itself. Holding up the mountain in his hands, Hanumana darted back through the air while it was yet night and happened to pass over to the city of the Ayodhya. Bharta, who kept vigil at night even since his return from the Chitrakuta, exhibits a colossal figure coursing through the airs and thinking it to be some demon drew his bow to ears and struck him with headless shaft. Struck by the dart, Hanuman dropped unconscious to the ground, crying, Rama, Rama, Lord of Raghu. The moment Bharata heard these pleasing words, he rushed and come post haste by the sides of the monkey. Seeing the monkey soon, the prince clasped him to the bosom and tried every means to bring his back to consciousness, but in vain. With his sad look in his face and much distress at heart, and his eyes full of the tears, he spoke the following words: "The selfless The selfless providence who alienate me from the Sri Rama has also inflicted this terrible suffering on me. If in thought, words, and deed I cherish sincere devotion to Sri Rama's lotus feet, and if the Lord of the Raghu is kindly disposed forward me towards me, may the monkey be relieved of all executions and pain. As soon as these words enters the ears, the monkey chief arose and sat up, crying glory, all glory to the Lord of the Koshla. A thrill of the joy ran through Bharta's body and tear rushed to his eyes as Bharta took and clasped the monkey to his bosom. His heart overflowed with love at the very thought of the Sri Rama, the glory of the Raghuline. Tell me, dear brother, if all is well with Sri Rama, the fountain of joy, as well as with the younger brother Lakshmana, a mother Janki, Janka's daughter. The monkey chief told him in brief all that has happened, and Bharta felt much distress to hear it, and his heart was filled with remorse. Oh, my good heavens, why should I have been born into these words at all? If I could not be of any service to the Lord, but realizing the adverse circumstances, the gallant and the mighty prince recollect himself and address Hanuman again. You will be delayed in your journey, and nothing will avail after daybreak. Therefore, ascends my arrow daybreak. Nothing will avail. Therefore, ascend my barrow, unten and all, and I will send you straight into the presence of the All Merciful. Hanumana pride was taken when he heard these words. How will the arrow fly within my weight? He thought. Recalling Sri Rama's glory, he bowed the Bharta's feet and spoke with joined palms. Cherishing the thought of your majesty, my lord, I will go swiftly. So saying and obtaining leaves of the Bharata, Hanumana bowed at his feet and sped on. As he journeyed forth, as soon as winged God extolled to himself again and extolled to himself again and again, and Bharata's strength of heart, amiability, goodness, as well as boundless devotion to the Lord's feet. Now there is Suvela Sri Rama's uttered words befitting a word moral as he looked at Lakshmana. Although it is no past midnight, Hanumana has not yet turned up. Sri Rama raised his younger brother and clasped him to his bosom. Brother, you could never bear to see me in distress, since your disposition has always been so tender. On my account, you left both fathers and mother and exposed yourself to the cold, the heat, and the winds of in the forest, where it has it that old love now, brother, that you refuse to get up even on hearing my lamentations. Had known I would lose my brother in the forest, I would never have obeyed even my father's commands. Son, riches, wives, house, and the kinfolks in this world repeatedly comes and go, but the real brother cannot be had again in these words. Ponder in your mind and arise, dear brothers, as a bird is utterly miserable without wings, a serpent without its head dwells, and the noble elephant without its trunks. So it may live without your brother. In case stupid fate compels me to survive. With what fame shall I return to the Ayodhya after sacrificing a beloved brother for sake of the life? I would rather have suffered obliquely in this world for my inability to recover my wife. For after all, the loss of my wife is not a serious loss. Now, however, my unfeeling and stony heart will ensure both an obliquity and the deep anguish of your loss, my son. You, your mother only son, you are the sole prop of her life. Yet she took you by the hands and and trust you to me, and knowing that I would make you happy in every way, and I am your greatest well wisher. What answer shall I give her when I go back? Why should you not get up and advise me, brother? Thus lamented the despairer of sorrow in diverse ways, and tears flows from his eyes, which resembles the petals of the lotuses. Uma continued Lord Shiva and Lord of the Raghu in one without a second and indivisible. He exhibited the way of the Hanumana being only because he is so compassionate to his devotee. The host of the monkeys that surrounds the lords were distanced to hear the lord's frantic wailing. Presently arrived Hanumana like a heroic strains in the wind in the midst of pathos. Transported with joy, Sri Rama embraced Hanumana, for the Lord is exceedingly grateful by nature and supremely wise. The physician Susena then immediately applied the medicines, and Lakshmana cheerfully rose and sat up. The Lord clasped him brother to Lakshmana clasped his brother to his heart, and the whole host of the bears and the monkeys was rejoiced. Harmana took the physician back to the Lanka in the same way he had brought him previously night. When the ten-headed monster heard his news, his he beats his head in utter despair again and again. In sore perplexity, he called on Kumbhakarna, his younger brother, and succeeded in waking him up by using all sorts of devices. Having woken and sat up, he looked like death himself in a corporeal body. Kumbhakarna asked, "Tell me, Rudra, why do you look so widespread, so withered up?" The haughty Ravana told him the whole story as to how he had carried off Sita's dear brothers, the monkeys, has killed all the demons and expiated the greatest warriors, the Dhamnukas, Davantakas, the enemies of the god, Nartakas, the devourer of the men, the mighty champions, Atikaya, the enormous size, and the Kampana who had trembled in fears, and other heroes like Mahabara, the big belly so staunch in battle, have all fallen on the field of the battle. On hearing the word of the ten-headed brother, Kumbhakarna felt very sorry. Having carried off the mothers of the universe of fool, you still expect good out of it. You have now acted well, O demon kings, and now why have you come and woke me up? Yet abandoning pride, worship Sri Rama, and you will be blessed. Can the Lord of the Gotan and Ravana be a man who had contained who have courier like Hanumana? Ask whether you acted unwisely in that you did not break his news to me earlier. You have you have quoted war with the divinity who has for his servants God like Shiva and Virinchi, the creator. I would have confident to you the secrets which the six Nardas had once imparted to me. But the time has passed. Squeeze me, brother, in close embrace now. I may go now and bless my eyes with the sight of the Lord who has swarthy complexions and lotus-like eyes, and who relieves the threefold agony of his devotee. As he thought of Sri Rama's beauty and the virtue, he forgot himself for a moment. In the meantime, Ravana requisitioned for his communication merits of jar full of wines and told here the fellow. Having feasted on the buffalo and drunk of his wine, Kumbhakarna roared like roared like a crash of laughing. Heavily drink and full of passion of war, he sailed forth from the fort without any troops. When Vishnu saw him, he came forward and falling at his feet, told his name, told him his name. Kumbhakarna in his turn lifted his younger brother and clasped him to his bosom. He was delighted at heart to know that the brother was devoted to Sri Ramas, the Lord of the Raghu's dear brothers. Ravana so sprung me with his foods when I gave him a most salutary advice and told him my views. Disgusted with such treatments, I came away to Sri Rama, and the Lord's heart was drawn towards me when he perceived my distress. Listen, my son, Ravana is the clutches of the death. and would not listen even the best advice at their stage. Thrice blessed are you, Vivishna. You have proved to be the ornament of the demon race. Brothers, you have brought glory to you, brother. You have brought glory to our line by adoring Shri Rama, that ocean of the beauty and felicity. In thought, words, and deed, you would gluelessly adore Sri Rama, who is staunch in battle. Now leave me, for doomed as I am to death, brothers. I can no longer distinguish between friend and foe. On hearing the word of the Bharat Kumbhakarna, Vishnu turned back and came into the presence of the Shia, the ornament of the three spheres. My lords, here come Kumbhakarna, possessed of a body huge as a mountain and staunch in battle. The movement of the mighty monkey heard this, they rushed forth crying with joy. They plucked up trees and mountains and hurled them against Kumbhakarna, gnashing their teeth all the while. The bears and monkey threw myriads of the mountain peaks at him each time, but the neither he felt daunted in spirit, nor did he stir from his position in spite of the best effort on the part of the monkeys to push him back, even like elephant battled with the fruits of the sun plant. Therefore, Hanumana and struck him with his fist and fell to the earth, beating his head in great confusion. Rising again, he hit Hanumana back, and the latter withered round and immediately dropped to the ground. Next, he overthrew Nala and the Nira upon the ground and knocked down the warriors here, there, and everywhere. The monkey host stamped in utter dismay. Note, none darted, none dared face. Having rendered unconscious Angadas and the other principal monkeys, including Sugriva, Kumbhakarna, who was on unbounded might, nay, the very perfection of the strength, pressed the king of the monkey under his armpits and went off. Uma continued Lord Shiva. The Lord of Raghu played the part of the human being in the same way as the Garuda, the mount of the Bhagwan Vishnu, would sports in their companies of the snakes. Otherwise, how could he would devour death himself within the mere knitting of his bows, engage with any grace in such a battle axe as his? He will thereby spread his fame, which will now not only sanctify the whole world, but the undoubtedly take across the ocean of the mundane existence the people who sings it. Now Hanumana unconscious sees, and he woke and presently began to look about for Sugriva. Meanwhile, Sugriva too recovered from his swoon and slipped out Kumbhakarna's grip, who had taken him to the dead. The consequently loosened his grip. Kumbhakarna discovers his escapes only when Sugriva bit off the monster's nose and ears and ascends into the air roaring. The demon caught Sugriva by the foot and have thus secured him, dashed, dashed secured him, dashed him against the ground. Sugriva, however, rose with remarkable agility and hit his adversary in back. The mighty hero Sugriva then returned into the Lord's presence, shouting, Glory, glory, and glory to the merciful Lord. Kumbhakarna felt sick at heart when he realized that he had been deprived of his nose and ears and turned back in his worries. The monkey host was horror stricken when they saw the monsters, who was frightful by nature and more looked looked more so is to influence the nose and ears. Rising a shout of the glory to the jewel of the Raghu race, the monkey rushed forward and rained upon him all at once, volley of the rocks and trees. Maddened with the lust of the battle, Kumbhakarna marched against the enemies like Death himself. Furious with rage, he seized and devoured myriads of the monkeys that looked like swarm of the locusts, and turning a mountain cave, seizing many more millions, he crushed them again his body. The millions he navigated between his palms and mixed with the dust on the ground. Multitudes of bears and the monkey escaped through his mouth, nostrils, and ears and ran away. Intoxicated with the frenzy of the battle, the demon stood in challenging mood as thought the Creator had placed the whole universe at his disposal, and he was going to devour it. All great warriors scouted away from the battlefields and would not return under any persuasions. Whoever they could entirely see with, and they could neither see with their eyes nor hear any cause. The Raman host also sailed forth when they learned that Kumbhakarna has displaced the monkey's army. Sri Rama saw the discomfit, discomfiture of his forces and further perceived all kind of enemy reinforcements pouring in. Listen, Sugriva, Vishnu, and Lakshmana, take care of the army while I test the might and main power of this, said the Lotus Eye Lord. Taking his famous bows known by the name of Saranga in his hands, and with a queer faintness to his waist, the Lord of the Raghu went forth to crush the enemy's rank. The Lord first twanged his bows. The sound was so fierce that the enemy host was defense to hear it. Sri Rama's unfailing resolve discharged 100,000 arrows, which sped like winged cobras. Numerous arrows flew in every direction. Fierce demons warrior began to move down. Feet, chest, and heads and arms was dismerged, while many a hero was cut off into 100 pieces. Whirling round and round, the wounded fell to the ground. The champions amongst them rose and recovering themselves would join battle again. The thundered like clouds even as the arrows struck him, but many of them took the flight at the very sight of the terrible arrows. Handless trunks rushed furiously on with the cries of the seas. In a thrice the Lord's arrow moved down the terrible demon host. All the arrows then made their ways back into the Sri Rama square. When Kumbhakarna perceived and realized that the demon armies had been wiped out in an instant, the formidable hero flew into the violent rank and gave a grim roar as the lion, the king of the beasts, in the fury he tore up mountains by the roots and dashed them upon detachments of mighty monkey warriors. The Lord saw the huge mountains coming and shattered them with his arrow into dust as it were. The Lord of the Raghu once more pulled the strings of his bows and intelligently discharged a volley of his exceedingly terrible shaft. The arrows entered the boss through the body like flashes of the lightning dispersing into the cloud. Blood gusting out from his dark figure resembles sprout of the red orchids shooting from a mountain of the shoot. Perceiving him in clusters, bears and the monkey dash forwards. The monkey, however, longer when the monkey drew nearer. He burst into the terrible roars and seized millions and millions of the monkey, dashed them to the ground like a huge elephant swearing by his ten-headed brothers, the while like a huge swearing by his ten-headed brothers, the while. Most of the bears in the monkey fled like flock of the sheep at the sight of the wolf. The monkeys and bears, O Bhavani, turned tails in terror, crying in a piteous voice. Yonder demon is like unto a famine which threatens to visit this lands in the shape of the monkey host. Therefore, O Rama, slayer of the Khara, the cloud laden with the water of the companion, relief of the suppliant agony, save us, protect us. The moment the Lord hears the pathetic voice, he advanced to meet him, putting his bow and arrow in his wonder, placing his armies in the rear. The most powerful Rama marched ahead, full of indignation. A head full of interior. Pulling the string of his bow, he fitted 100 arrows to his. They flew and dispersed into the demon's body. Even as the arrow struck him, the demon rushed forth, burning with rage. The mountain statured and the earth shook as he ran. He tore up a rock, but the glory of the Raghu race cut off the arms that bore it. He then rushed forward with the rocks in the left hands, but the Lord stuck off even that arms to the ground. Thus shone is on his arms. The rest resembles mountain, Mount Mandara without the wing. He cast a fierce looks on the Lord's as it if ready to devour all the three spheres. With the most terrible yield, he rushed forth with the mountain within open. The Siddhas and the gods in the heaven shouted in great alarms, "Earth, dear me!" Perceiving the god much alarmed, the All-Merciful pulled the strings of his bows right up his ears and blocked the demon's mouth with a finger of his arrows. Yet he did not fall to the ground, most powerful as he was. With the mouthful of the arrow, he rushed forward like a living fear of the death himself. Then of his wrath, the Lord of his wrath, took a sharp arrow and struck his head right off his body. The head dropped off the ground of his ten-headed brothers, who was filled with agony at the sight like a snake that has lost its crushed jewel. The earth stuck beneath the weight of the terrible truck that will sprint it there. Therefore, the Lord cut off into the two pieces fell to the ground like a pair of the mountains dropped from the heaven, crushing between the monkeys' beards and the demons alike. His source enters the Lord's mouth in the form of the mass of the light, to the astonishment of the gods, sages, and all. The gods sounded their cathedrals in great exclusions, extol the Lord in their and their rain flowers in profusions. Having prayed to the Lords, all the gods went their way. Just at the moment arrived Celestial say Narda standing height in the air, he sang Sri Hari's praises in a delightful, erotic stance which pleases the Lord's soul. The sage departed with the words, "Pray, dispatch this wretch Ravana quickly." Sri Rama shone forth on the field of the battle. The Lord of Raghu, the King of Gausha, who was matchless in his strength, shone this shone shone shown resplendent on the field of the battle. The midst of the beards and the monkey, with dropped off perspiration of his face, his lotus eyes turned sad, and he person is packed with particles of blood, and both his hands busy playing with his arrow bows and the arrow. Even Shesha, the serpent god, says to us, I could not describe the Lord beauty despite his numerous tongues. Sri Rama vouchsafed peace in his own abode to a wild demon who was who was a mine of impurity. Sita, abode of the wild demon, the Sri Rama vouchsafed a place in his own abode to a wild demon who was mine of the impurities. Girija continued, Lord Shiva, cultivated are those men who adore him not. At the close of the day, the two contending armies retired from the battlefield. The battle had proved exceedingly strenuous even to the stoutest warriors, but the monkey host, the at the close of the day, the two contending armies retired from the battlefields. The battle has proved exceedingly strenuous, even as the stoutest warrior, but the monkey host wags stronger by the Sri Rama's gale. Even as a fire blazed up with the fleet with the straw, the rage of the demons were the thinning rage, and they like but the monkey whose wax stronger by the sheer Rama's grace, even the fire blazed up by the fleet with the straw. The rank of the demon were thinning night and the day like merit, which is exhausted by speaking of one's good deed with one's own lips. The ten-headed monster made much lamentations, clasping his brother's head to his bosom again and again. The women wept and beat their breasts and their hands, paying tribute to the extraordinary majesties and strength. At the juncture, Meghnadhar, Ravana's elder son, came and consoled his fathers by narrating a number of reassuring stories. Seeing my, seeing my, see my heroes tomorrow. I did not make any pretentious statements just now. I had I have had no occasion to show you, dear father, the strength which I acquired along with the carrot from my beloved deity. While he related on these manners, the day broke and swarm of the monkeys, besides all the four gates, on his sides raised the Hanuman and bears, warriors terrible as death, while the while he beloved deity. Seeing my heroes, I did not make any prettiest statement just now. I have had no occasion to show you, dear father, the strength which I acquired along with the courage from my beloved deity. While he waited on the manor, the day broke, and swarms of the monkey besides all the four gates. On the sides, the Hanuma, the monkeys and the bears, warriors terrible as death, while on the other side stood the demons exceedingly staunch in battle. Every champion fought for the victory of his own camp. The Battle of Garuda sees Kushandi defies all descriptions. Mounting his charms, cast Meghnad ascends into the air and rode with a terrible laugh, which struck the monkey host with terror. He charged a volley of lances, spikes, swords, and the scimitars, as well as axes, bloodguns, and the stones, and other missiles and weapons of every description, terrible as a thunderbolt, and further rained down shafts in profusion. The sky was thickly covered with arrows on all sides, as through the clouds pours in torrents or in the mouth of the Bhadrapada when the constellation Megha, the 10 in order of the 27 nakshatra, is in the ascents. The cries of the seas, kill, kill, filled every year, but filled everywhere. Nobody knew who it was that struck them. Snatching up rocks and trees, the monkey sprang into the air, but they could not see him and returned so disappointed. Meanwhile, by his delusive power, Meghnada has turned every rugged valley, path, and mountain cave into the very variable avenue of the arrows. The monkey were confounded and did not know where to run. Turns. They felt helpless like so many mandras thrown into the patience, as it were by the Indras. The son of the wind god Angadas, Nalanila, and all the other mighty heroes were completely discomfited by him. Again he assails with his shafts Lakshmana, Sugriva, and Dakshina, Sugriva, and Vishnu, and and pierce their bodies through and through. Then he comforted the Lord of the Raghus himself. The arrow he let fly turns into the serpents, even as they uh, struck Shriram, the slayer of the Khara, who is all independent, infinite, and immutable. The one without a second was overpowered by the serpent's coils. Like the actor, he played many a part. He, the one ever free and omnipotent Lord, it was in order to invest the battle with glory of its own that the Lord allowed himself to be bounded by sneer of the serpents, even though the gods were dismayed at the sight. Girja continued, Lord Shiva, it is ever possible that the Lord, who is all pervading, adored of the universe, and whose names were repeated, enables the hermits and cut asunder the bound of existence, should fall into the bondage. The doing of Shriyama when appears in the embodied forms Bhavani cannot be logically interpreted by power of the reasons of speech. Realizing this through who know the truth about him and full of the patience adore Sri Rama. Uh, Discarding all theological speculations. Having thrown the monkey's horse into the confusion, Gandharva, a cinemas of Meghnatha, at last revealed himself and began to pour abuses. Javan said, remain standing a while. When he heard this, when he heard this, wishes. Jaman said, remain standing a while, O wretch. When he heard this, his anger knew no bound. Fool, spared you only on account of your age, and yet you have had the audacity of challenge me, O wild creature. So saying, he hurled his glittering trident. Javan, however, caught it in his hands and darting forward, struck Meghnad in chest with it so vehemently that the enemy of the gods reeled and fell into the ground. Once again, Javan, in his fury, took Meghnata by the foot and, swinging him to the ground, dashed him against the ground and thus showed him his strength. By virtue of the wound granting to him by the Creator, however, he died not for all his killings. Thereupon Javan seized him by the foot and tossed him to the Lanka. At the end of the celestial sake, Narada dispatched Garuda, who took, who took no time to reaching by the side of the Shriram. The king of the birds sees and devours the whole swarm of the snakes created by the Meghnata's demonic power. The charm was thus dispelled, and all the divisions of the monkey host rejoiced again. Armed with the rocks, trees, stones, and claws, the monkey rushed forth in his great fury, while the demon took to their heels in utter confusion and climbed up the fort. When the Meghnata recovered from the swoon, he felt much ashamed to find his fathers before him. He speedily betook himself to the convenient mountain caves and resolved to perform a sacrifice which would render his invincible. At the end, Vibhishna approaching the lords and told him his considered view. Listen, my lord, of the incomparable might and the generosity. The wicked Meghnata, who is past masters in creating illusions and the scourge of the heavens, is performing a unholy sacrifice. If, my lord, the sacrifice is allowed to be completed, he will not then be speedily concurred. Speedily concurred, the lord of the Raghus was highly gratified of hear gratified to hear this gratified to hear this and summoned Angadas and many others monkey. Go with Lakshmana, brothers, and all rich and sacrifice. And if it is your Lakshmana to kill him in a battle, I am much distressed to find the god in terror. You must finish him by the force on your wit, might, or any other way of others. Mark me, brothers, the demon must be put at end to. Rajaman, Sugrivan, Vishnu, you three must keep by this side with your regiment. When the hero of the Raghu line has finished his commands, Lakshmana, who was staunch in battle, girded the quiver by his sides and strung his bow, and cherishing the Lord's glory at the heart, he spoke in he spoke in a voice deep as thunders. If I return today without saying, Hey Meghnata, let me no longer be called servant of Sri Rama, the Lord of Ragune. Even if 100 Shivas come to his help, I shall not less kill him in the name of the Rama, the hero of the Raghu line. Bowing his head at the feet of the Sri Rama, the Lord of the Raghu, Lakshmana, who was known as then the Lord Ananta or Shesha, set out at once, accompanied by champions like Angada, Nila, Mayanga, Nala, and Hanumana. Arriving there, the monkey found him squatting and offering oblations of the blood and live buffaloes to the sacrificial fires. The monkey raged the whole sacrifice, yet when the demon refused to stir, they proceeded to applaud him ironically, even as he did not quit his place. The monkey thereupon went and caught him by the hair and striking him with the foot. Once after the rain away, he rushed for trident in hand, while the monkey fled before him and came where the Sri Rama's younger brother Lakshmana stood at the head of his army, driving. Monkey thereupon went and caught him their hair and snaking him with the foot other than the other way. The monkey raised the whole sacrifice, yet when the demon refused to share, they proceeded to applaud him ironically, even as he did not quit his place. The monkey thereupon went and caught him by the hair and striking him with the foot once after the other ran away with rushed for trident in hand, while the monkey fled before him and came where Sri Rama's younger brother Lakshmana stood at the head of the army, driving by the midst fury, he came and shouted with a terrible roar again and again. The son of the wind god and Angadas darted to forward in great indignation, but he struck them on the breast with his tridents and freed them into the round. He then hurled his fierce trident at the Lord Lakshmana, but Ananta intercepted it with his arrows and broke it into two. Arriving there, the monkey found his sweating and offering oblations to the blood and living buffaloes to the sacrifice fire. The monkey wretched the whole sacrifice, yet when the demon refused to stir, they proceeded to applaud him ironically, even then he did not quit his place. The monkey thereupon went and caught him by the hair and striking him with the foot one after another ran away where he rushed forward trident in hand while the monkey fled before him and came where the Sri Rama's younger brother stood at the head of this army. Driving by the wildest fury, he came and shouted with a terrible roar again, the son of the wind god, and the Angadas darted forward in great indignation, but struck them on the breast with the trident and freed them into the ground. He then hurled his fierce trident to the Lord Lakshmana, but Ananta intercepted it with his arrows and broke into two. Meanwhile, the son of the wind god and the prince Agadas had risen again and struck him furiously, but he receives no injury. When the hero turns around thinking that the enemy could not be killed in spite of the best effort, he rushed forward with a terrible yell. When Lakshmana saw his coming furiously like death himself, he let fly fierce arrows and Raj, however, vanished out of the sight of the moment he saw arrows terrible, the thunderbolt darting towards him. He fought in various hues, now revealing himself and now disappearing. The monkey were filled with dismay when they saw the enemy would not be conquered. Lakshmana, Lakshmana, the Lord of the Serpent, Lakshmana, the Lord of the Serpent, thereupon flew into the towering lake. He made a firm, he made a firm, he made a firm resolve in his mind to dispose the demon, and he thought, "I have played with this wretch long enough." Recalling the might of Shriram, the Lord of Goshla, he definitely fitted an arrow to his bow and shot it with such a steady aim that struck me that the full in the breast, and the demon abandoned all the false appearance at the moment of the death. He gave up his ghost with the words, "Where is Rama?" Younger brother Lakshmana, "Where is Rama?" On his lips. "Blessed indeed is your brother," explained Langadas and Hanumana. Hanumana lifted him without any exertion, and after placing him at the main gate of the Lanka, returns. Hearing of his death, the god as well as god Gandharvas all appears in the heavens of their aerial cars, raining down flowers. They beat their drums and sing the spotless glory of the Sri Rama, glory of the Lord Ananta, glory to the support of the whole universe. You, of Lord, have delivered the gods, having thus hymns his praises, the gods as well as Siddhas went their ways, while Lakshmana arrived in the presence of the All Merciful. The moment the ten-headed monster hears the news of his son's death, he dropped unconscious to the ground. Mandodari made grievous lamentations, beating her breast and crying in many ways. The citizens were all smitten with grief. Everyone abuses Ravana. The ten-headed monster then consolidated all the women folks in various ways. Perceives and realizing in your heart, he said that the entire universe is perishable. Ravana taught them sound wisdom through while himself his counsel was so piteous, pious, and wholesome. Indeed, there are hosts of the people clever in instructing others, but those who practices good morals themselves are few and far between. When the night was over and the day broke, the monk bears and the monkey invested all the four gates. The ten-headed monster summoned his champion and said, "He whose heart quell before the enemies in battle had better withdraw even now, for if he turns his back on the field of the battle, he will have to suffer for it, relying on the strength of my own arms." Having shouted, having shouted, the ten-headed monster summoned his champion and said, "He whose hearts Ravana taught them sound wisdom through while himself. The council was so pious and wholesome. Indeed, there was host of the people clever in instructing others, but those who practices good morals themselves are few and far between. When the night was over and the day broke, the beards and the monkey invested all the four gates. The ten-headed monster summoned his champion and said, "He whose heart squares before the enemies in battle had been withdraw even now, for it he who turned his back on the field of the battle, he he will have to suffer at all. Relying on the strength of my own arms, I have I started enmity and shall give befitting reply to the enemy who has invaded us." So saying, he got ready his chariots, swift as the winds, and all the musical instruments of war sounded. The hero, who were matchless in strength, rushed forth like a swarm of the suit. Numberless ill omens occurs at the times, but extremely proud of his might, extremely proud of his might of the arm, he heeded them not. Ravana taught them sound wisdom, through while himself his counsel was so pious and wholesome. Indeed, there are hosts of the people clever in instructing others, but those who practices good morals themselves are few as far between. When that night was over and the day broke, the beards and the monkey invested all the four gates. The ten-headed monster summoned his champion and said, "He whose heart squares before the enemies in a battle had better withdraw even now, for if he turns his backs on the field of the battle, he will have to suffer for it. Relying on the strength of my own arms, I have started enmity and shall give befitting reply to the enemy who has invaded us." So saying, he got ready his chariots, swift as a wind, and all the musical instruments of war sounded. The hero, who were all matchless in strength, rushed forth like a swarm of the Sioux. Numberless ill omens occurred at the time, but extremely proud of the might of the arm, he heeded them not. In his overweening pride, he took no heed of the omens, whether goods or bads. Weapons dropped from his hands, and the warriors fell down from their cars, while horses and elephants ran striking out of the line. Frightening jackals, vultures, and donkeys gave a shrill cry, while dogs winged in number, verified in large number. Verify. In the overwhelming pride, he took no heed of the omens, where the gods and the bad weapons dropped from his hands, and warriors fell down from their cars, while heroes and the elephants ran striking out of the line. Frightful jackals, vultures, and the donkey gave a shrill cry, while the dog, winged in large numbers, and owls like messages of death utters most alarming note. Can he ever expected prosperity and good omens and attain peace of the mind, even in a dream, who actively malevolent or to the living being, and the disposition she and the in can never expect prosperity, God and never peace of mind, even dream, who is actively malevolent to the living creation, is hostile to Rama, and is steeped in the enjoyment of senses, all under a spell of delusion. A demon host which defies all calculation marched completed in all the four limbs, elephants and the carrots, horses and the foot. It was divided into the many regiments and may equipped with mounted cars and the other conveyance of the every description, as well as with numerous banners and standards of the diverse colors. Numberless troops of infrared elephants marched like rainy clouds driven by the winds. There were multitudes of the distinguished warriors wearing uniforms of the various colors, all heroic in battles and the conversant with many elusive devices. Thus, the army was magnificent in every uh, way and looked like in mustard mustard army of the gallant deity presiding over in the vernal season. Even as the host marched, the elephants guarding the eight quarter tottered. The ocean was shared to it very depth and mountain rock. The dust rose in clouds in the obscure, the suns and the air became still, and the earth was troubled. Drums and the cattle drums made a awful din like a thundering of the clouds at the time of the universal distinctions. Tabors, characters, and the hard boys sounded the monkey, sounded the martial strength that gladdened the heart of the champions All the heroes roared like lions, each extolling his own might and valor. Ravana exclaimed, "Listen, my valiant warriors, wipe out the hordes of these bears and the monkey, while I shall slay the two brothers princes." So saying, he ordered his army to march forward. When the monkey received the news, they all rushed forth, swearing by Shri Ramayana, Shri Ramayana, Shri Ramayana, Shri Ramayana. The diamond host, which was defy all calculation, marched complete in all four limbs, elephants and the carrots, horses and the foot. It was divided into the many regiments and was equipped with the mounts, cars, and other conveyance of every description, as well as with numerous banners of the standards of diverse colors. Numberless troops of the infuriated elephants and marched like rainy clouds driven by the winds. There were multitudes of distinguished warriors wearing uniforms of the various colors, all heroic in battle and conversant with many elusive devices. Thus, the army was magnificent in every way and looked like a mustard array of the gallant deity presiding over in the vernal season. Even as the host marched, the elephants guarding the air quarter tottered the ocean was shifted to its very depth, and in the mountain rocks. The dust rose in the dust rose in clouds and obscured the sun. The air became still, and the earth was troubled. Drums and the cathedrals were as awakened in like a thundering of the clouds at the time of the universal distinction. Tabards, characters, and the horn boys sounded the martial strains that gladdens the heart of the champions. All the heroes rode like lions, each extolling his own might and the valor. Ravana exclaimed, "Listen, my valiant warrior, wipe out the hordes of these bears and the monkey, while I slay the two brothers princes." So he orders the army to march forward. When the monkey receives the news, they all rush forth, swearing by the name of the Sri Rama, name of the Sri Rama. Name of Sri Rama. The gigantic monkey and the bear, who were terrible as death, rushed forward like a host of the winged mountain in diverse scales by claws and the teeth, rocks and the huge teeth of the weapons. They were all powerful and knew no fear. They shouted glory of the Sri Rama, the veritable lion for the wild elephant in the shape of the Ravana, and sang his praises. With a shout of the victory, victory on both sides, and each fighting his own match, the hero came to the close combat. The monkeys singing the glory of the Sri Rama, and the demon extolling Ravana. Vishnu was disconcerted when he saw Ravana mounted on the carrots and the hero of the Raghu line without any. His great fondness for his lord fitted his mind with diffidence, and bowing his half feet, he spoke with the tender heart, "My lord, you have no carrot nor any protections, either for your body in the shape of the armor or for your feet in the shape of the shoes. How then can you expect to conquer this mighty hero?" "Listen, friend," replied the all merciful carrot, which led on the victory of the quiet another. Valors and the fortitudes are the wheels of the carrots, while truthfulness and the good conducts are its enduring banners and standards. Even so, strength, discretion, self-controls, and the benevolence are its four heroes. Then have been joined to the carrot with the God of forgiveness, compassion, and evenness of mind. Adoration of God is the expert driver, patient the shield, and the contentment the sword. Again, charity in the taxes. Charity is the access, reason, the fairest lance, and the highest wisdom, the relentless bow. A pure and the steady mind is like a queer, while quietudes and the various forms of the abstinence, yamas, and the religious observance, niyamas, are a are a sheaf of arrows. Homage to the Brahmins and the one's own preceptor is the impenetrable goal of the males. There is no other equipment for victory as efficacious as this. My friend, he who owns such a carrot of piety shall have no enemy to conquer anywhere. Listen, O friends of the resolute mind, the hero who appears to be possessions of such strong character can conquer even the mighty and the invincible foe. Attachment to the words, hearing the Lord's word which the claps his lotus feet in joy. You have utilized this opportunity to exhort me, O Rama, an embodiment of the grace and the bliss you are. On that side, the ten-headed Ravana threw his challenge, while on this side, Sangada and Hanuvana invited him to the contest. The demon, on the one hand, The bears and the monkeys on the other steadily fought, each side swearing by his Brahma and the other gods, as well as number of siddhas and daseks, mounted their area cars and watched the contest from the heaven. I too, continued Lord Shiva, happened to be that companies and witnessed Sri Rama exploit repealed by the martial zeal. The champions of both sides were maddened with the passion of the war. The monkey, however, led the field through the might of Sri Rama, while with shout of the defiles they closed the single combat, each crushing his adversary and throwing him to the ground. They smote the enemy, hacked him to the pieces, clutches him, and dashed him to the ground. They tore his heads off and battles another with the same. They ripped up bellies, plucked up arms, and seized the opponents by the foot, dashed him to the grounds. The bears buried the demon's warriors undergrounds and spilled over them large heaps of the sands. The gallant monkeys on the battlefields looked like so many infuriated forms of the death, and they desperately fought against the enemy. The bodies steaming with blood, the powerful monkey warriors look like the god of the death in fury, crushing the champions at the demon hose. They roared like thunder clouds. They slapped and browbeat their opponents, bit them and trampled them underfoot. The monkeys and bears sent out the shrill cry and employed every stratagem of inheriting the miscreant hose. They seized and tore open the cheeks, ripped up the bellies and hung all and trailed round their necks. As through the Lord of Prahlada, Bhagwan Narasimha had assumed the multiplicity of the forms and sported on the field of the death. The savage cries of the seas smite, hewed, cut in pieces, and knocked down, fitted both heavens and the earth. Glory to the Sri Rama, who can actually convert a blade of grass into the thermometer and vice versa. When when the ten-headed Ravana saw his troops breaking, he mounted his chariots and drawing 10 bows in his 20 arms, turned round shouting in great fury, turns back, turns back. The wrath of the ten-headed monster knew no bound as he darted forwards, but the monkey also hurried to comfort him, shouting with glee. Taking in their hands trees, stones, and rocks, they hurled them upon him all at once. The rocks broke to the pieces the moment they struck in adminate frames. Ravana, who was maddened with the lust of the wars and most furious by temperament, flinching out but remained firm as rocks, planting his carrots where it stood, burning all over with rage. He darted and bullied hither and thither and started crushing the monkey's warriors. Many a bears and the monkey took off his field, crying, help, help, Angada's Hanuman, save me, O Lord of the Raghuvira, hero of the Raghuline. The wretch is devouring lust like death. When the master saw that all the monkeys had fled, he fitted an arrow to each of his 10 bow. Fitting an arrow to each of his bow, he shot a volley of the arrows which flew and locked like winged serpents. The shaft filled all available space and earth to as well as in the heavens to the eight quarter, so that the monkey knew not where to go. There was a wild uproar in the rank of the monkeys and the bears, who were also distressed and cried it against anguish. O hero of the Raghunan, ocean of the mercy, O be friend in distress, O Hari of the Shri. Fitting an arrow to each edge where he shot the body of the arms which flew with the lodge like a winged serpent. The shafts filled all available space on the earth as well as in the heaven, including the eight quarter, so that the monkey knew nowhere to go. Where was the wild uproar in the rank of the monkeys and the bears, who were all sore distress and cried in anguish, O hero of the Raghuline, O ocean of the mercy, O befriender of the Hari, O savior of the mankind. Seeing the distress of his crew, Lakshmana fastens his arrow square in his waist and taking the bow in his hands, and he bowed his head to Shinama feet and sailed forth full of rage. Oh, you are making the monkey bear your target, O wild wretch. Look at me, I am your death. It is you whom I have been looking for, you slayer of my sons. Today I will soothe my heart by killing you. So saying, he discharged a flight of the fierce arose. But Lakshmana Shaver, who you are making the monkeys and the bears your target, O wild wretch, look at me, I am your death. It is you whom I have been looking for. You slayer of my sons, today I will soothe my heart by killing you. So saying, he discharged a fierce of the fierce arrows, but Lakshmana shivered them into the 100 pieces. They Ravana hurled upon him berets and other missiles, but Lakshmana foiled them all by reducing them to particles as small as sesame seed. Again Lakshmana assails him by his arrow shafts, smashing smashing the carrot and killing the carrot. Nay, each of his 10 head has transfixed with 100 arrows, which seems like a serpent boring their ways into the peak of the mountain with 100 arrows. More he struck him the barrage. He fell senseless to the ground. On regarding his consciousness, the mighty demon rose again and hurled a lance that had been bestowed on him by Brahma the creator. The furious lance, the gift of the Brahma, struck Lord Ananta Lakshmana right in his breast, and the hero dropped to the ground full of agony. Attendant monster tries to lift the prince and carry him off, but the glory of the demon's matchless strength proved ineffective. How foolish it was on the part of the Ravana who gave sword to lift him on one of those thousands has rest all the serpents of the universe like a grain of the sands. He left new The furious arose, the gift of the Brahmans struck Lord Ananta right in his breast. The hero dropped to the ground full of agony. Attendant monsters tries to lift the prince and carry him off, but the glory of the demon matchless strength proved ineffective. The foolish it was on the part of the Ravana. He have sought to lift him on once whom thousands had rest all the serpents of the universe like a grain of the sands. He little knew that he was no other than the Lord of the three spheres, the son of the wind god who perceived this stretched forward speaking harsh words. But even the monkey came near the monster struck him terrible blow with his fist. Hanumana sank off his knees but did not fall to the ground. Recovering himself, he rose in exceedingly wrath and struck Ravana a blow with his fist. The demon fell into the mountain, struck by the lightning, like a mountain struck by the lightning. When the spell of his swoon was over and consciousness returned to him, he began to admire the monkey's enormous strength. Shame on my Harmana sank off his knees but did not fall to the ground. Recovering himself, he rose in exceedingly wrath and struck Ravana a blow with his fist. Haman fell into the mountain, struck by the lightning. When the spell of his wound was over and consciousness returned to him, he began to admire the monkey's enormous strength. Shame on my valor and shame on myself. If you are still alive, you enemy of the gods. So saying, Hanumana carried Lakshmana off to Shriram. The ten-headed monster was amazed at the sights, said the hero of the Raghunath. Bear in mind, brothers, that you are the devourer of the death and the savior of the god. Immediately on hearing these words, the gracious Prince Lakshmana arose and sat up. By the fierce lance vanished into the heavens. Taking his bow and arrow again, he darted and came post hastened in the front of the enemy. With great dispatch, Lakshmana smashed Ravana's carrots against and struck down the carrots with the Lakshmana smash, who felt withnings with pain. Ravana, whose heart was transfixed with the 100 arrows, fell to the ground much distressed. Another carrot came and led him his own carrots and immediately took him away to the Lanka while Lakshmana, Sri Rama, gracious brother, bowed at the Lord's feet again. At the other end, the ten-headed monster, coming to himself, said to perform some sacrifice. In this perversity and rank ignorance, the fool sought to give victory even by antagonizing Sri Rama. At this end, the Vishnu got all the information and hastening to the Lord, the Raghus appraised him on everything. My Lord Ravana is busy with sacrificial performance, and if he completed it, the wretch will never die. Thereupon my lord dispatched some valiant monkeys at once, so that they may wrench his sacrifice, and the 10-headed monster be compelled to return. As soon as the day broke, the Lord sent out his champions Hanuman, Angadas, and others, who all rushed forwards in one sports. The monkeys sprang up to the fort of Lanka and fearlessly entered Rama's palace. The moment they saw him engage in sacrifice, all the monkeys grew wildly furious. You shameless wretch, having run away from home from the battle, you have been sat down here and fighting meditation. So saying, Angadas struck him with his foot, but the fool did not even look at them, his mind being absorbed in the pursuit of his own end. When he refused to look at them, the monkeys in their fury bit him with their teeth and kicked him with his wives too. They seized by their locks and dragged out of the doors while they cried most piteously. Then at last he rose, furious at death, and catching hold of the monkeys by their legs, he threw them away. Meanwhile, when he saw that the monkey has reached the sacrifice, he felt discomfited at heart. Having reached his sacrifice, the monkey safely returns to the lord of the Raghus, while the demon Ravana set out ablaze with fury, abandoning all hope of life. Evil omens of the most fearful nature occurred to him even as he went. Vultures flew and perched on his head. Being in the jaws of the death, he paid no heed of anyone's and exclaims, "Beat the drums of the wars, the demon host appears endless and unless it marched out with the barrels of the elephants, carrots, foot soldiers, and the horsemen. The wicked demons rushed to face the Lord's life, a swarm of the moon darting towards fires. At this end, the god prays to the Lord. The fellow Ravana has inflicted terrible suffering on us. Play with him no more, Rama. Vidya's daughter Sita is feeling most discomforted. Vidya's daughter is feeling most disconsolate. The Lord smiles to hear the gospel as the hero of the Raghuline rose and put his arrow in order. The matted locks on his head had been tightly coiled and were interlaced with flowers. With his ruddy eyes and the body dark as a rain cloud, he ravished the eyes of the whole world. He fastened his square to the piece of the cloth girt round his loins and took in his hand formidable sarang Sarangu, his loins and took his Shri Ramayana, Shri Ramayana, Shri Ramayana, Shri Ramayana. Remember Sarangabo. The Lord took the Sarangabo in his hands and fastens to his square. A cloth girt round his loins and took his hand formidable saranga bow. The Lord took the saranga bow in his hands and fastened to his waist and beautiful pair with the executable stalks of the arrows. He had a pair of the muscular arms with his charming and the broad chest, which was adorned with the pairs of the Brahman's Bhragu's foot. When the Lord says Das commenced feeling the bows and the arrow with his hands, the whole universe, including the elephants guarding the eight quarters, the divine tortoise, the serpent god Shisha, and the earth with its ocean and the mountain, begin to tremble. God rejoiced to see his beauties and rained down flowers in the endless shower, exclaiming, "Glory, glory, all glory to the fountain of mercy and the storehouse of the beauty, strength, and goodness." Meanwhile, arriving the vast demon host with the overcrowded rank, the moment the monkey warriors saw the army, they advanced to meet it. They advanced to meet it. Nigaman. Meanwhile, arriving the vast demon force with the overcrowded ranks, the moment the monkey warriors saw the army, they advanced to meet it like the masses of the cloud that gathered at the time of the universal destruction. In numberless swords and the flashes like gleams of the lightning from every direction. The shrill cries of the elephants and the rattling sounds of the carrot resembles the terrible thundering of the clouds. Myriads of the monkeys' tails stretched across the heavens like an array of the magnificent rainbow appearing in the sky. The dust rose in thick columns like streams of the waters in the airs, and the arrows shot forth in the endless shower like a raindrops. Mountain hurled from either side, crushed like a repeated strokes of the lightning. The Lord Oroku, in his furies, let fly arrows in showers, which straightway wounded the demon too. The demon warrior struck with pains. The arrows struck them, and the swinging round and round, they fell to the ground here, there, and everywhere, uh, streaming with blood. That wounded demons looks like mountains with their large cascades, and the blood rained into the form of the river, the terror of cowards. A most unholy river of the blood that smote recurrents with terror rain across the battlefield, with the two armies for its banks, the carrot for its in intervening sands, and with their wheels for its whirlpool. It was frightful flood indeed. The foot soldiers, and even so elephants, horses, donkeys, and the other other mounts of all kinds, more than one could count, that floated on the river, represent the various aquatic creatures. The arrows, lances, and the iron clubs fed by the stood for its serpents, and the bow borne around the current represent the waves, and shield stood for its many territory tortoise, while shares and there is like trees of the banks and abundant marrow of the bones represent it comes desert dastards shuddered at this very sight, while champions were delightful at heart to see it. Spring cloud, spring spirits closed in the goblins, and even so frightful guineas, and with a long shaggy mass of the hairs, and the Prathama Shiva's own attendants took their plung into it. Crows and the kites flew off with human arms, with humans, with they tore from one another and themselves. Some said, "What a pity, fools, that shout, you have shout, continue to suffer from he wants." Far from his bound. Spread ghost and Goblin when a frightful genies with a long shady mass of the hairs and the Pratma Shiva's own attendants took their plunged in it. Crows and the kites flew off with the human arms while they tore from another's and ate themselves. Some said, "What a pity, fools, that you should continue to suffer. For what even such a plenty." Wounded warriors fallen on the bank groaned like the moribund, laying all round, half in the half out of the water on the bank of the Sakar River lake, in order to ensure that they may breathe their last while their body is being washed by the Sakar's water, since such a death is accounted as highly beneficial. A spirit of dying man standing on his banks, vulture stores the entrails of the dead like fishermen, and gazing with rapt attention. Many dead warriors floated down with words preached on them, as if the latter were enjoying a game of the boating on the river. The yoginis, female attendants of goddess Durga, took a shone blood in skulls, while female spirits and the sprites danced in the air. Even as Chamundas and other clubs of the female attendants of Durga sang songs in various strains, crushing the skulls of his dead warrior like so many pairs of camels, so many pairs of camels. Shriram, I know, Shriram, Shriram, Shriram. He heard of the jackals, snapped in their teeth, and they tore the dead feasters upon them and yield. And when suffocated, they sneered. Myriads of the headless tongues trotted away along the battlefield, while the head lying on the ground shouted victory. The head victory, victory, while headless tongues started wildly about. Birds got entangled in skulls even as they contended with one another, while champions overthrew their rivals. Imperious throw. Sri Rama stands the monkey, crushed the demon crew, and morally struck by Sri Rama's fight of the arrow. The champions lay in the eternal sleep on the field of the death. Rana thought within himself, the demons have been wiped out, and I am left alone with the monkeys are still numerous. Let me therefore resort to conjuring without any limit. When the gods saw the Lord was on foot, they exceedingly troubled at heart. Indra, the Lord of the heaven, forthwith dispatched Sri Rama. Dispatched his own carrot, while Mitali Indra's characters gladly bought there. It was a heavenly and unique car, which was all splendor. The king of the Kaushal Purayuddha gladly mounted it. It was driven by the four high-spirited and charming horses which knew no decay of death, and flew as fast as mine. The monkey rushed forward with renewed vigor when they saw the lord of the Raghu mounted on a carrot. When Ravana felt that the monkey onset was irresistible, he took creating illusions. The elusive creation did not touch the lord of the Raghus, while the monkey, nay, even Lakshmana, took it to the real. The monkey saw among the large demon host a number of Ramas and many Lakshmana. The monkey and the bears were much terrified at heart to see numerous Ramas and the Lakshmana. All of them, including Lakshmana, stood gazing like the figures in the piteous picture wherever they were. The lord of the cautious smiled to see his army at the nonplus. He fitted and arrow his bow and in thrice Sri Rama dispersed the Maya to the delight of the whole monkeys. Sri Rama then cast his glance on the spokes and senses serene words. Watch now my duel with Rama. For all you, my heroes are extremely tired. So saying the Lord of Raghu bowed his head at the Brahman's lotus feet, even as he urged forward his carrots. Thereupon Ravana felt much enraged at heart and darted to meet him, challenging him in thundering voice. Listen, Armit, I am not like one of those warriors whom you have vanquished in a battle. My name is Ravana, whose glory is known all the worlds over and whose presence holds within its walls the regents of the spheres. You slew Khara, Dushna, Viredha, and the killed poor Wali, even as a hunter would shoot his games. Nay, you wiped out the host of the demon champions and the killed even Kumbhakarna and Meghnatha. Today I will wreak vengeance on you for all his you unless, O prince, you flee away from the battle. Today I will surely give you over to death, for it is relentless Ravana whom you have to deal with. Hearing his full talk, the All-Merciful took him as doomed him to the death and smilingly replied as follows: Thus done in all your greatness, but perhaps no more show your valor if you can. Do not ruin your reputation by bragging. Pray excuse me and listen to the sound of maxim. There are three types of man in this world: those resembling the rose, the mangoes, and the bread trees, respectively. The one gives flowers alone, the second flowers and fruit both, and third yield fruit alone. Even so, the one talks, the second talks and well as does, while the third does but never goes about proclaiming it. Ravana's heartily laughed when he heard Sri Rama's words. You teach me wisdom. Do not shrink from the raging war against me. Then now it seems you as she feared to death. He, having uttered those taunting words, Ravana furiously began to discharge arrows like so many thunderbolts. Shaft of the various designs flew all the quarters, they every corner of the earth and the heaven. The hero of Raghuline let fly a fiery dart, and in a moment the demon bolts were all consumed. Ravana grounds his teeth out of the frustration and hurled a furious lance, but the Lord sent it back along with his arrow. The demon then hurled across the discus in the trident, but the Lord frustrated them by declaring them asunder without any exertion. Ravana's arrow proved futile as the schemes of the wicked invariably are. Then he hurls arrows. He struck Sri Rama's characters Matali, who fell to the ground crying victory to the Sri Rama. Sri Rama took compassion and lifted up in the Ravi. He now stripped up with a terrible fury. When the Lord of the Raghus encounters the enemy on the battlefield full of the rakes, the arrow of his bows were beat with his when the Lord of Raghu encountered the enemy on the battlefield full of the rakes, the arrow of his square feet with one another in their endeavor to shoot forth. The the man-eating demons were all seized with terror at the sound of the most powerful sting of his bow. Manduri Harpier, the ocean of the tortoise supporting the globe, the earth and the mountain terribles, and the elephants guarding the quarter fields and the clutches of the globe with their tusk. The god smiles at the amusing sight. Srirama drew the bowstring right up in the air and let fly his terrible dart, which spat forth, vibrating like so many serpents. The arrow flew like the winged serpents at the first onset. They killed Ravana's characters and the horses. Then, smashing the car, they tore off his e-signs and the flags, even though the strength had inwardly failed him. He rode aloud and immediately mounting another car, ground his teeth, and the hurled missiles and the other weapons of every description. All his efforts, however, failed like those of men whose minds is ever intent of harming others. Then Rama hurled forth 10 pikes, which struck the 4 horses of the Shri Rama's carriage and overthrew them. The Lord raised him horse and bowing the bow strings, let fly his dart in great fury. The arrows of the Shri Rama, the hero of line, spat forth like a string of the bees to enter Ravana's heads, which compared a battle of losses. Shri Rama struck each of the bow and with 10 arrows which pierced through them. The blood gushed forth in torrents. Through bleeding profusely, the mighty demons rushed forwards, and Lord once more fitted a row in his hands. The hero of the Roland discharged 30 shafts, which shot down his heads and the arms to the ground, but they grew afresh as they grew afresh as shafts shot down his head and arms to the ground, but they grew afresh as soon as they were served. Shirama, however, struck off his head and the arms once more. Time after time, the Lord smote off his arms and the head, but they were renewed as soon as they were blown off. Again and again, the Lord tore off his arms and heads. For the king of the Koshla take delight in playing. The sky was full of heads and arms like an infinite number of Ketus and the Rahu. It seems through multitudes of Rahu and Ketu were rushing through the airs, streaming with blood, hit by the terrible shaft of the Shira, the hero of the Rogla again and again. They could not fall to the ground. The Aru, as they flew through the air, each transfixing a set of the heads, seeming like so many rays of the angry sun, each stung all over with number of Rahus. Equal as the Lord struck off his heads, they were renewed. They were equal as the Lord struck off his head, the queer as the Lord struck off his heart. They were renewed without end, like the passion of the man, which grew Sri Ramayana, which grew ever more and more, even an enjoyment of pleasure of senses. When Netanyahu perceived the multiplication of his head, he thought no more of his own death, but was seized with burning wrath. The fool rode in his great pride and rushed forward with all his 10 bows drawn. Flying into a rake of the battlefield, the 10-headed monster discharged a shower of arrows and screened with it the carrots of the Shira, Lord of Raghu, which was lost the sight for nearly half an hour, even as the sun obscured by the mist. When the gods raised a piteous cry, the Lord took up his bows full of wrath, making it ineffective the enemy's arrow. He cut off his heads, which covers all the quer, as well as immediately point of the compass, as well as the as well as when the ten master perceives the multiplication of his heads, he thought no more for his own death, but was seized with burning wrath. The fool roared in his great pride and rushed forward with all his 10 bows drawn, flying into the reek on the battlefield. The 10-headed monster discharged a shower of arrows and screened with it the carrots of Sri Rama, the Lord of Raghu, which was lost to the sight of nearly half an hour, even as the sun is obscured by the mist. When the god raised the piteous cry, the Lord took up his bows full of wrath, making ineffective the enemy's arrows. He cut off his heads, which covers all the quarter, as well as immediately pointed on the compass, as well as heaven ascended the earth. Several heads flew through the air and struck terror into the monkeys' heart, as well as utters of cry, victory, victory, when the Lakshmana, where is Lakshmana, where is Sugriva, the lord of monkey, where is the hero Raghuline, the lord of the Kaushala, where is Rama, cried the multitudes of hares, whereas spat the monkey took to flight as they saw them. The jewel of the Raghuline smilingly fitted a row to his bow and shot the head through the throat, taking a rosary and skulls in their head. A large number of Kalikas, female attendants of goddess Kali, collected in numerous batches, as through having pathed the stream of the blood, they had proceeded to worship the banyan tree on the battle. Then the ten-headed masters when the ten was in his fury hurled forth his terrible lance, which flew straight toward Vishnu like the rod of the death. When the Lord saw the most fearful lands coming, he thought to himself, it is my scared war to put an end to the distress of the suppliant. Instantly, Shrirama put Vibhishana behind him and exposed himself to the full force of the spheres. When the lance struck him, Lord fainted for a while, although it was my sports and part of the Lord. The gods were filled with dismay when Vishnu saw the Lord has been grievously hurt. He seized his club and rushed forward full of rage. You wretch, vile, and perverse fools, you have antagonized God, human beings, sakes, and the Nagas alike. You deliberately offered your head to the Lord Shivas and have got millions to over one in returns. It is for the season, O Raj, that you have been spared till this time. Your death, however, seems to be impending now. Fool, you seek happiness through enmity with Sri Rama. So saying, Vishnu struck his brother right on the chest with his clubs. All the terrible impact of the mighty club of his chest, Ravana fell to the ground. All his 10 mouths sprouting blood, but he picked himself again and darted forward full of fury. The two mighty champions closed with each other in wrestling contest, each mulling the others. Vibhishna, however, who was inspired by the strength of Sri Rama, the hero of the Raghunayan, deemed his adversary as of no account. Uma continued, Lord Shiva Vishnu would never have darted off himself to look Ravana in the face. Armed with the might of Shri Rama, the hero of the Raghunayan, however, he now closed with his brothers like death himself. Perceiving Vishnu much exhausted, Hanumana rushed forward with a rock in his hands, crushing the carrots, the horse, and the characters all at once. That he gave Ravana a kick right in his breast. The demon, however, kept standing through, shaking violently all over. Meanwhile, however, Vibhishna withdraw into the presence of Shri Rama, the protector of his devotee. Ravana thereupon challenged and assails the monkey Hanumana, who ascended into the spreading his tails. Ravana laid hold of his tails, but the monkey Hanumana flew along with him. The mighty Hanuman then turned and closed with him. The two well-matched warriors fought overhead while striking the arrow in great fury. Mount of great fury, putting forth all his strength and stratagem, while in the air the two look like a mountain of truth and the Mount Sumeru contending with each other. When the demon who could not be overthrown either through wit or through physical force, the son of the wind god invoked the Lord. Invoking the hero of Raghunayan, the strong-minded Hanumana challenged and struck Ravana. The two fell to the ground and rising again and again, resuming fighting. The gods shouted victory on both. Seeing Hanumana in such a state, the monkeys and the bear sailed for the for furious haste, while Ravana, who was battle-mad, crushed all the champions by the tremendous might of his arms. Then, railed by the hero of the Raghunayan, the furious monkey rushed forwards. Seeing the overwhelming monkey's host, Ravana, however, display his Maya black art. He became invisible for a moment, and then the wretch revealed himself in the multitude's forms. The ten-headed monsters appears in many forms, as there were bears and the monkeys in the army of the Shriram, the Lord of Raghu. The monkey host beheld numberless Ravanas and bears, and the monkey then fled in every direction. The monkey had no courage to stay. They fled, crying, Help Lakshmana, help Raghuvira, hero of the Raghula, and myriads of the Ravanas darted in all directions, thundering in a deep shrill and the frightful voice. All the gods took flight in panic, crying, Now, brothers, abandoned all hopes of the victory. A single Ravana subdued the whole heavenly host. Now that he was being multiplied, let us seek mountain caves. On one Brahma, the creator's Lord Shambhu, the Shiva, and the wise seers, however, knowing the Lord's glory, Shri Rama, glory remained unshaken, Shri Rama, and Shri Rama, Shri Rama, Shri Rama. They who understood the Lord's might remained fearless, but the monkey took the apparitions of the real enemies. They all lost courage and fled, monkeys and bears alike, crying in their dismay, uh, protect us, our merciful Lord. The most powerful Hanumana, Angada, Nila, and Nala, who were all valiant in battle, fought and crushed the merits of the gallant Ravana that had sprouted on the soil of deception. The Lord of Verses smiled to see the dismay of the gods and the monkey. He fitted an arrow of Faris, his famous Saranga bow, and wiped out the whole host of the elusive Ravana. In a thrice the Lord dispersed the whole phantoms, even as a wheel of the darkness is torn asunder with the rising of the sun. The god rejoiced to see only one Ravana, and turning back rained abundant flowers on the Lord, raising his arms. The Lord of the Raghu railed the monkeys, really railed the monkeys who Shriram, who returns, each shouting to other. Inspiring by the might of the Lord, the bears and monkey ran and leaping briskly, they arrived on the battlefields. When Ravana saw the god extolling Sri Rama, he thought himself, "They think I am now reduced to one fool. You have ever been victim of my thrashing." Sri Ramayana, Sri Ramayana. In their thighs the Lord dispersed the whole phantoms, even as the wheel of the darkness is torn asunder by the rising of the sun. The god rejoiced to see all the Ravanas, only one Ravana, and turning back rained abundant flowers on the Lord's. Raising his arms, the Lord of the Raghus railed the monkeys who returns, each shouting to others, inspired by the might of their lord. The bears and monkey ran and leaping briskly, they arrived on the battlefields. When Ravana saw the god extolling Sri Rama, he thought to himself, "They think I am now reduced to one fool. You have been who have ever been victim of my threatening." So saying, he sprang up into the air with great indignation. As the god fitted, uttering a piteous cry, Ravana said, "Wretches, whither can you go from my presence?" Seeing the distress of the god, Angada rushed forward and with bound seized Ravana by the foot and threw him into the ground. Having seized Ravana and thrown him to the ground, Vali's son Sangada gave him a kick and with rejoined the Lord. The ten-headed monster, on recovering himself, rose again and roared terrible and shrill voice, proudly drawing the string of all his 10 bows. He fitted a dart to each and rained a flight of the arrows, wounding all the warriors in the enemy's ranks to their utter dismay and confusion, and rejoiced to see his own might. And thereupon Lord of the Raghu tore the Ravana's heads and arms along with the arrows and the bows more than once, but each time they are multiplied like sins committed in a holy place. The bears and the monkey grew furious when they saw the repeated renewal of the Ravana's heads and arms. The fool would not die even though his arms and heads are cut off. So saying, the bears and the monkey warriors darted towards him in great fury. Vali's son Angada, the son of the wind god Nala, Nila, Sugriva, the king of the monkeys, and Devidas, almighty hero, hurled trees and the rocks on him. Ravana, however, caught them and threw the same back upon the monkeys. Some of the monkeys tore the enemy's body with their claws, while others would kick him and ran away. Then Nala and the Nila climbed up his head and sat the tearing his foreheads with his claws. When he saw blood coming, he felt much troubled at heart and moved up his arms to catch hold on the monkeys, but they were not to be caught and leapt about from one hand to another's like a pair of bees hovering over a bed of the lotuses. At last, with a furious bound, he clutches them both, but before he could dash them into, they twisted his arms and ran away. Again, in his fury, he took 10 bows in his hands and with the arrows struck and wounded the monkeys. Having rendered Hanumana and other monkey chief senseless, he rejoiced to see the approach at night. Seeing all the monkey hero Shiramayana, 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 Shiramayana. When he saw blood coming, he felt much troubled at heart and moved up his arms to the catch holds of the monkeys, but they were not to be caught and leapt about from one hand to another's like the pair of the bees hovering over a bed was. At the last, he furious bounds of the clutches them both, but before he could dash them to the ground, they twisted his arms and ran away. Again, in his furies, he took 10 bows in hands and with a arrow struck and wounded the monkeys. Having rendered Hanumana and other monkey chiefs senseless, he rejoiced to see the approach of the night. Seeing all the monkey heroes in the swoon, the valiant Jamvan, rushed forward with the host of the bears, carrying rocks and trees, which they hurled upon him, challenging him again. And then he urged the mighty Ravana, who seized a number of the warriors by the foot and began dashing them to the ground. Jamvan, the king of the bears, flew into the lake when he saw the as havoc wrought on his host and gave Ravana a kick on the breast. The violent impact of the foot on his breast made Ravana senseless, and he fell from his carriage to the ground, grasping a beard in each of his 20 arms, like bees reposing by night of the fold on lotus. Seeing his unconscious, the king of the bears struck him with the foot once more and rejoined the lords. Perceiving that it was night, the character lifted him on his carriage and then tried to bring him back to the senses. When recovering from the swoon, the bears and monkey all arrived in the presence of the Lord, while all the demons stood round Ravana in great consternation. Pause 26 for 30 days recitation, day 1.